Good afternoon, everybody. How's it going? This is Mike D, and I'm with my good friend Poppy that was in the UK, and I just found out yesterday that she's in San Diego now. So it's just an amazing thing just to have social media like we do, to be able to connect. We always talk about the negatives of it, but really there's a lot of positives about it as well, like connecting with an amazing person like Poppy. So we're going to get into an amazing talk today about love, because we have Valentine's Day tomorrow, but really even more importantly, kindness. And a lot of times we forget that those go hand in hand, and we focus on just the over dramatization of Valentine's Day, buying the roses, taking them out on the dates, doing all that cool stuff. But what about the other half of it, or what about the part that's not really spoken about as much, that kindness? So Poppy, if you want to just introduce yourself or just let everybody know who you are, go for it.
Well, two things. My name is Poppy Sprague. I'm a psychologist. I met Mike through Facebook because he's a great person and I'm a great person, so we decided to hang out and connect with you guys. On that point though, in order to do more of it, I'm going to forward this on my timeline. So
and I'm going to invite people too. So everybody that's joining in, feel free to join. We welcome everybody that's coming in right now. We're just getting set up and inviting more people onto the feed that can enjoy this video with us. So just hang tight as we do our thing, and we'll be with you guys shortly. Right, and this is what we were talking. What I was telling you about here. You can actually see the friends list, and you can just go down and start inviting people.
Oh, cool.
And speaking of that, guys, we're talking about some of the features of Facebook Live. Anybody wants to know more about that? There it is. We're streaming the live feed right next to ourselves, which is pretty cool. Look at the technology.
I'm loving it.
So let's just keep getting a few more people on here, and then anybody that's joining us right now, it's a great message. So go ahead, and if you know that love and kindness is something that's important in your life, or it's one of your top human needs as far as love and connection is concerned, share this video right now, because it's going to be an awesome video. Two great perspectives, and really just deep conversation about kindness and what it's all about and how important it is in society, especially nowadays, because we get so caught up in the world and the ways of the world that we forget to be human beings. And it's something that Poppy and I were talking about today. I might have to put my shades on because I'm like crying here.
I wonder if it's Valentine's for anybody here already. In New Zealand, would it be Valentine's?
It would be, right? It would be. Oh, hello people. Hello everybody. Welcome, welcome, welcome. So let's see here. Might as well get it going. And if you guys don't catch it live, you can catch it on the replay with us. But the most important thing that we want to talk about today, and just kind of wish everybody a happy Valentine's Day Eve today, and a special shout out to everybody that has a special someone in their life. And I hope you guys treat them with that love and respect. But Poppy, let's get into it right now about kindness. So speaking of kindness, what's the first thing that comes to your mind when you think kindness?
Eye contact, connect, giving somebody the sense that you're important and I'm engaged and I understand, you've got something to say and I get it, and good for us. Absolutely,
absolutely. And I mean, something that you guys know that follow me, and I learned today that Poppy has a huge heart for it as well, is the homeless. And it's so easy for us to kind of just walk through life and be so busy and just, you know, caught up in what we're doing in our day-to-day activities, that we can walk by human beings all the time and just disregard them, just because they're homeless or just because they're not in the path that we're walking on. But sometimes, and this is something that a lot of you guys that follow me know that I talk about a lot, to become the person, the man or woman that you were made to be, you have to step outside of yourself to step into who you are. And sometimes stepping outside of yourself can be stepping off that path that I just talked about to help somebody else, to take that break from your busy life and to be able to go out there and do something nice. And I can tell you right now, a lot of you guys know how just kindness and paying it forward and being a good-hearted person, how it affects you. But if we know that, why don't we do it? You know, why don't we take that action? Why don't we take those steps to really be more kind or better ourselves every single day? In your experience, what have you felt? You know what I mean? When you're going through, when you're dealing with the people that you've dealt with, you know, what do you feel like is holding people back from taking that step to show that kindness or that random act of kindness?
Fear. Fear of rejection, punishment, judgment. We all have this incredible ability to really connect, and oftentimes we don't, because the idea that you turn away or you don't agree, or it happened actually, I met somebody the other day and she said she'd been dating somebody for 6 months, and she said, I love you. And he said, it's too soon for that.
Wow, yeah.
And she's a big-hearted soul, and this is what I think a lot of us have, these fantasies that you won't want me, you won't get me, you won't feel the same.
Sure.
And it is, I mean, it just keeps us small. It's a killer, really.
Absolutely.
The times when we really remember is when just a random something where somebody went, yeah, I get it, tell me more, that's really interesting, and we maintain this eye contact that says you're important.
And I mean, that's something nowadays that it's almost a lost art, and I feel bad. We're talking about eye contact. I'm wearing sunglasses.
I'm glad you did that.
So let me give you guys eye contact. There might be some tears from the sun shining in my face, but it's all good. It's because it's love, guys. But like Poppy was just saying about fear, that initial fear, that fear in the moment is temporary, okay? It's a temporary moment. The thing that I would urge you guys to be afraid of, I don't want you to be afraid, but if you're gonna be afraid of something, okay, and if you're deciding to be fearful, be afraid of regret. Because regret's something you cannot change. It's already after the fact. It's already said and done, and you can't do anything about it. So be fearful of what you didn't do, not what you did do. Because, I mean, I from working with Gary Vee and understanding his point of view and him going into places like I've talked about before with you guys, old folks homes, elderly homes, the number one thing the majority of them say is, I wish I did this. I wish I told her I love you. I wish I went after that job, or whatever it is. I wish. That I'm definitely afraid of. You know what I mean? That scares the crap out of me. But going in a moment, I used to be scared, and I can understand it. But to me, it's that kind of balance now of understanding, okay, do I want to deal with a little bit of pain now or a ton of it later? And just, you know what, sucking it up and just saying, get over it and do it. You know, that's how I get through it. So, I mean, in your own personal life, because I know you have a big heart to serve, and you are a kind woman, obviously. But what makes you kind of get over that initial hesitation or that initial fear, if you will, to actually go out there and take the action?
I could never find another person who has been as mean to me as I've been to myself.
Ooh, yes.
It doesn't scare me, it doesn't faze me. I would rather you look at me funny or think I'm crazy or weird, or I hope you do. Because if I need to be a Dalek, I'd rather just move to another planet. I would rather you shun me than us never meet. I'm cool with it. She wants to talk to me. She does. I want to talk to her, actually. Let's go. Bring her over. There's always something else. And for me, there's never anything really, and I know it's hard to hear, there's never anything that can go wrong.
Yeah.
Because it will take us somewhere else. You reject me, well, she may come and say, hey, or something will happen, and it's worth the risk.
Sure. And as Poppy just spoke about right now, we're talking about kindness, and the initial thought, at least for me, and I'm sure for a lot of you guys out there, and thanks for the love. And if you're here right now, announce yourselves, let me know you're here, because we can't see everybody. What's up, Chad? Stuff. Thank you, buddy.
This is good stuff.
What's up, Liselle? Thank you for being here as well. But
check other people.
Yeah, go for it. So speaking of kindness, like Poppy just said right now, the thing is that we always, or at least I do, like I said, we think about it as an outward motion. But like Poppy mentioned, we need to be kind to ourselves too. And that's who we beat ourselves up. At least me, I was the first person to line up and kick myself in the ass, and the last person to line up to do one of these and pat myself on the back for a job well done. Yeah. And I don't want you guys to rid of the butt kicking that you might give yourself, because sometimes we need it. I mean, there's been many times in my life where I had to have that sit down with myself and say, dude, what the hell are you doing? Can you get it together and get stuff together, please? And kind of just get into that zone to be able to get motivated and to take that action. But at the same token, to be able to get past that final or that first hurdle, you have to get past the next one, to be able to do it with that kindness and that acknowledgement of the acts that you're taking, or the actions, that you're taking, that are in alignment with where you want to be and where you want to go. So speaking of that, as far as like being in alignment, because I feel like that has a lot to do with kindness, because if you're in alignment, meaning like if you have a good state of mind and you're present, it's a lot easier for me, at least, to be kind if I'm more aligned in my own personal life. So speaking of that alignment, I mean, being that you're a psychologist, what's something that you can give these folks that are here right now or that might watch it on the replay to help them kind of have a quick kind of tune-up or check-up as far as aligning themselves properly?
What do you want? What do you want? And if you're feeling this is relevant, by the way, please share it, because there's so many of us who are desperate desperate for connection.
Yep.
And a sense that somebody gets us. And, you know, as a psychologist, for 20 years I've been doing this, the broken-hearted people I meet who don't need medication, who don't need to be taken from their families, who don't need to be on the street, who don't need to be drugging it up, bearing in mind sometimes, okay, there are other ways into this because we need to take care of a certain part that isn't being taken care of. The disconnect of, I mean, I posted about this the other day. People, you know, we all have a devastating story about what has really silenced us or broken us, for want of a better word. Everybody does. We all have this incredible story. When we hear somebody talking about a depression or anxiety or a relationship breakup or whatever it is, it's very easy for us to come away and go, oh, that's difficult. You've been there. I've been there. You've been there.
I've been there
We've
more
been
times
there.
than I've liked to, but it's not necessarily because I didn't like it in the moment. And Poppy and I were talking about this earlier too. But I like it now because what it's brought me is that clarity or that alignment that we're speaking of. Because sometimes, for me, I needed to be out of line to get back in line, to be able to get like the sense of knowing that I was out of line. Because there's points in our life sometimes that we feel like we're on point and we're going down the track or the path that we're meant to be on. But a lot of times it's kind of a facade or a mirage that it's actually, and it's not really reality or the reality that we want to have ultimately. So at the end of the day, guys, I mean, we were just talking about it as we were walking here. Kindness and just having that presence to understand that we're all human. And as humans, we deserve a certain level of respect and love, honestly. And if you're not doing it, I urge you to do so, because life is too short not to, first of all, because you're really disabling yourself, not other people, by doing that and not being kind or not being able to be used as that vessel to share kindness and share love when you don't necessarily love yourself. So let's kind of transition to what I just talked about right there with loving yourself. So when you love yourself, obviously it's almost imperative to love yourself, to truly love somebody else.
And not many people get that.
And not so talk a little bit about that.
I don't even know if I get it.
I don't know either.
Do I get it? Because I think a lot of us can think that's ignorant or arrogant or narcissistic or whatever it is, or self-love, what is that? And it's all about navel gazing and whatever it is. No, it is about, we are more alike than dissimilar. And in order to really, really connect with somebody and have you treat me as I want to be treated, I need to actually let you know.
Yeah.
And if I don't know, I can't tell you what I want,
Absolutely.
what I don't want, and so on. And I guess it doesn't have to be complicated to work out, how do I love me? What is okay and what is not okay? And what about that are you doing to yourself? And a patient of mine, really in trouble guy, he said, well, I don't understand. Why does it make any difference the way I treat myself to how other people will treat me? Which was an excuse to stay in his story of,
Yep.
you know, I don't have to take responsibility. And I said, well, hang on a minute. Let's have a look at your relationships and how you're treated and what your experience of people are and who knows you and who doesn't know you. And let's have a look at how you treat you. And it was abominable. The way he treated himself was devastating. And so therefore the standards are, well, if I don't eat properly and if I think this and if I ruminate with this, I'm not worthy, that's stupid, etc. You know, internal dialogue. What are you going to attract in somebody else? Because I'm thinking, well, you think I'm stupid.
Yeah, like attracts like.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's a cop-out, really, for us to think, well, I would like you to treat me well, but I don't eat well. Or, you know, I'm knocked off half the time because I'm medicating in some kind of a way. Or I talk to my, oh, you stupid, whatever. And then, well, you didn't look at me how I want. I mean, get over yourself. And please start to begin. You know what it is you're doing and not doing. And I apologise if I sound like I'm lecturing, because I know this stuff because I've done it. Take it easy on yourself. That's where you could begin.
Absolutely. And what Poppy said too is going back to what we started on the video about is, what do you want? You know, and that, what do you want from yourself? And to be able to love yourself, as she just talked about, you need to know what you want out of yourself too, because if you don't have that focus, you're just shooting in the wind, and I mean, you just don't know where you're going, and you're really subject to wherever the wind blows you, right? So why don't you take hold of your life? You take hold of what you were made for. You take hold of the gifts that you have inside of you, and really understand them, and then really formulate that idea or plan or passion or whatever it is to be able to align yourself, like we talked about, as far as going on the path that you were meant to go down. And like we said earlier, fear comes into play. Fear is a part of this whole thing. That's why a lot of people aren't kind. And it sounds stupid. Like, why would we be afraid of kindness? Like that to me, that question is like, it's almost mind-blowing to me. Like, being kind to me now is second nature. It wasn't always, and it's because I wasn't present. I wasn't aware of what was going around me at that time. But really, like Poppy just said too, get over it. Get over yourself and be yourself. I think that's what it talks about, because if we get over that story that we tell ourselves it's not really true, then we can actually allow ourselves to be ourselves.
Yeah. And it's not, sorry.
No, go ahead.
It's not actually that difficult. You know, a lot of people think, and I did it too, is I need to go and do this personal development, or I need to train this, or I need to go and meditate on this retreat, or whatever. It's actually not that difficult at all to get in touch with who you are and what it is you need. What is it that you know that you don't have a handle on right now? Period. It's really all that really, okay, well, if I'm not telling him what I think when he asks me what do I think, I have an issue with some kind of rejection or projection that I'm just not looking at. Mm-hmm. And if I'm sort of projecting onto you my horrible thoughts about myself, I'm not in a relationship with you. I'm in a relationship with my projection of myself. Yeah. So we haven't even met. And if we just, you know, again, I'm using too many words. You know what it is you don't have a handle on, you don't have a harness on. Have a look at it, because it will increase your connect with somebody so much. There's a reason to get up if you feel somebody knows you, somebody's looking at you. Somebody will stop you in the street and say, hi, it's really nice to meet you. You're from San Diego too, fantastic. There's so much potential.
Yep.
And, you know, if we come back to homeless, for example, or when we judge other people because we're different, yeah, and put this distance between us because the vulnerability in somebody else is too scary for us, let's take it easy, because we are all related in some kind of a way, and there's a very fine line between what's going on for this lady and what's going on for me. So just be careful, yeah, because there's so much potential. Can you imagine now if you're watching us and you think, you know what, there's this person and I just don't connect with them. Why? Maybe you don't even like them. Try it. Maybe look them in the eye next time, or ask them a question, or let somebody say something to you and actually look at them and respond. And see what happens. See what happens. If any of this resonates for you, see what happens. Do it differently.
So the people, Poppy, that aren't really, they know what that thing is that they need to get a handle of, like you mentioned, what advice would you give them? Obviously they have the awareness of knowing what it is, but what advice would you give them to, as far as really taking that step or action to be able to fully, or not even fully, even partially, either or, to actually handle it or deal with it, or to get on the way with handling it?
With all love and respect, take responsibility.
Ownership.
And that's the word we don't like, responsibility.
Nope.
It's like a swear word to a lot of people.
It is.
It just means respond. Respond to your environment.
Yes.
And, you know, a lot of people will take themselves to suicide or nearly there rather than take responsibility. And again, I know something about this. Ultimately, if we're not prepared to do that because it's somebody else's fault, or we're sitting in resentment, or we're wishing for the lottery, or whatever silly stuff it is, once we really start to go, you know what, God damn it, I'm going to do this differently, and no, you won't talk to me like that, or yes, I'm in love with you and I want to take a risk, or I want to go to study this, not that, whatever it might be. Nothing that comes to hold people back. I meet people all the time who have no resources, but resourcefulness, passion, recklessness, whatever it might be, nothing has to get in our way. And this is not talking from an educated, you know, I've had lots of opportunity to thrust in my face. I've been into the deepest, darkest places, yeah, and found my way out just because I was stubborn. And there's no difference between me and you and her and this lady and so on. It's about igniting that sense that truly we cannot cheat this stuff.
Yes.
We have to do something with it.
Absolutely.
And unfortunately, you know, there's a woman I'm thinking of, 74 years old. Only just now, she messaged me and said, you know what, I think I get it. Maybe I should take responsibility. That's where your power is.
Wow. And that's the regret thing too. Like, you're 74 now, you're not 21 anymore. You can't do the same things that you might have wanted to do back then, and you might be too late. You know, I'm not saying it's 100% counted out, but you might be too late on that. So don't even go there. And the thing is, darkness, a lot of people, especially in the motivational realm or the personal development realm especially, it's all rah, rah, rah positivity. My old boss didn't really look at it that way. And the quote that you gave of his too, it's not about your resources, but it's about your resourcefulness, is huge. Because you don't have to have everything to be everything you were made to be. And not only that, but like I was saying, in the darkness, even if you have a small glimmer of a light, it's going to shine a lot brighter in that darkness, and you'll have more clarity. So don't get caught up in the darkness. Don't get caught up in avoiding the darkness, because sometimes that's what it takes. At least in my case, it took hitting that bottom, or it took hitting that dark place for me to really see and have the clarity of what life is, or what my life is. And then in turn, I was able to be more kind to myself.
Yeah.
You know, so get to know yourselves, guys. Take responsibility, take ownership, as we don't like to do. We don't like that word responsibility. It's a swear word, right? It pretty much is. So do it though, own it. Because when you do, and here's the reason why a lot of us don't take ownership, because then guess what? You can't be pointing the fingers at her or all these other people. You got to point them at yourself. You know, who has two thumbs and is making excuses? This guy, right? I mean, like, come on. So be yourself, but to be yourself, you have to go through these processes. So in closing right now, Poppy, what's a word you would give right now, just like a closing message on just tying everything we spoke about today, ultimately leading to kindness and really living out your potential?
I love you. I can fall in love with anybody in a conversation. Don't be so selfish. You have so much to give, and by being down and out and I'm not this and I'm not that, you are stealing from somebody else. Don't do that. That's unfair. What is the chances of us being on the planet? 1 in 400 trillion or something?
Oh yeah, what Gary Vee, yep.
Hello?
Yeah,
Wake
we got
up,
it. We
people.
won. We won the race.
Wake
We're
up.
here. Okay, we're here. So if we're here, we might as well be kind to one another. For God's sake, guys, please do it. Because I have a huge heart. She has a huge heart. We want you guys to live the life you were always meant to live. We want you guys to be happy. You sometimes are the one that doesn't want yourself to be happy, but you don't really see it. So the thing is here, guys, be kind. Be kind to others. Be kind to yourself. Get to know who you are. Look yourself in the mirror. Be kind to that person you see back looking at you. And if you don't like what you see, be honest, be aware, be present, and do something about it. Because when you do that, then that's where real action can take place. That's where real difference can take place. And especially tying it in with this whole Valentine's Day theme, if you want love, you need that. That is a mandatory just part of the process, okay? You have to have it. So guys, thank you for being with us. I love you guys. Poppy loves you guys, as she said, and we're just so lucky. I'm lucky that you're here right now, and I really appreciate that you came and you met with me today to do this and just to hang out, and I'm showing her around San Diego a little bit. So I'm blessed for that, and that is a random act of kindness. So one last thing before we leave, and you're with me on this too, because I saw you shared the post and you're down with the Mercy Project Challenge as far as doing 30 days. Let's start that clock today, okay?
Can you say just a second what it is
Yes.
a bit more, because my guys may not know.
Absolutely. So what Mercy Project is basically, it started out, it's my homeless outreach that I run here in San Diego, California, in the US, but the challenge has to do with just being kind, and it's with showing mercy. And all you have to do for 30 days is post one random act of kindness each and every day of what you did. It doesn't have to be a video, it doesn't have to be a photo even, it could just be a regular post with text, hashtag Mercy Project Challenge with that, and then we're gonna keep posting on you guys. We're gonna see what's going on. We're gonna see who's actually participating on this. And I promise, if you don't participate, you're not really participating in life, as we talked about, because being kind is just an obligation and a responsibility for each and every one of us human beings that won that 1 in 400 trillion or billion race to get here. Okay, so you might as well enjoy it and enjoy the company you're with. So be nice, be kind. And then at the end of the 30 days, the last thing that I want you guys to do is just do a quick video testimonial. It can be 30 seconds, it could be a minute, however long it is, sharing the experiences of what you got out of being kind for those 30 days. So that's what the challenge is. If you guys have any more questions, I'll post the details in the comments as well. But that's it. And I'm taking the challenge. She's taking the challenge. And if you guys are down to take the challenge too, show some love across the screen right now and share this post, because you all need to be kind. We all could be more kind in our lives. And receive it. Receive. We're good at giving sometimes, but we need to receive it too.
On that note, for a second,
please.
You know, my experience of people who don't receive well, people have such great big hearts, and I want to give to you, but don't give it to me because it's just too vulnerable making.
Yep.
A lot of people I come across go right down and under because they don't know how to receive, and that will force you in the most shame-based way to receive.
Yes.
Some people need to get to a place where they have no other option.
Yep.
And it's painful to do it that way, as opposed to, I want to be loved how I love. I want a Poppy. I want a Mike. You know, we can be that to ourselves. And again, you know, it's not rocket science, but it is about, you know, if I want you to love me in this way, I need to let you know.
Yes.
And if I don't do that for myself, as much as, you know, people don't want to listen to this, you're going to do to me what I do to myself. Yep. It's an education. I'm telling you how to treat me, even with how I'm talking to you.
Yes.
Love me and do it in the way I want, and if you don't, I'll tell you.
I love it. I love it. I had a lot of fun today. I hope you did too.
Me too,
and I hope you're
absolutely.
enjoying San Diego, and welcome to San Diego.
Thank you.
And guys, please share the love, share the kindness, be a good person. It feels good, and it does good. So I'm gonna just leave you with this, like I always do. And it's the challenge to thrive alive. Live the best life you've ever given, that you were given. Live it out. Live it full out. No more 50%. No more 70%. All out. You weren't here. You didn't get here and win that race that we talked about to give it half-ass results. I mean, just do you, be you, and that's all I got to say. So thank you so much. My name is Mike D. This is Poppy, and we're here in San Diego, lovely San Diego. And what I'm going to do real quick is just kind of show you what's around here. Check out, so there's the Midway, and we're walking around. There it is. So with that being said, check out what's behind me. Boom. So there's for all the lovebirds out there. So check it out, enjoy it, and peace.